Alright everyone, so today I wanted to share with you guys some important information on how you can actually buy 58 plus gems for the price of 3,712,000 golds. Now I'm going to share with you guys, of course, how I got these numbers here and exactly what to do, but I also wanted to start off with some great news by telling you that they're even better than what I just mentioned. So that 58 plus gems, you can actually get up to 75 gems by doing this, and that 3.7 million gold, you can actually get that even lower. The reason why I decided to go with the numbers that I mentioned is whenever I make videos like this, I always like to stay on the conservative side and play it safe, just in case you don't decide to completely min-max it, go for all the discounts, and do all that sort of stuff. It just makes sense to be a bit more on the safe side. Now, with that being said, what I wanted to do is tell you guys all the steps to really be able to maximize and squeeze as much out of the Affinity System to get those gems as you possibly can. And there really are a few very particular things that you want to do to get the most gems from this as cheaply as possible. So the Affinity System is the one that is going to be based off of each individual unit, and of course even their different colors, different Arthurs, for example, they're both going to have their own affinity system, and you'll be able to end up getting a gem from each of them separately. So, not affection, it's really easy to mix those up. I might even do it in this video, but today we are talking about affinity. Now, something important to keep in mind is the actual number of 58 plus, or what I said is up to 75 if you go for everything, is the amount of units in the actual game here. Now, there are actually 79 units, but the reason why you can only get 75 is you have to keep in mind that the 4 slime collab units, you cannot actually get a gem from them because they do not have an affinity system here. So you've got 75 units, to my knowledge, might be 1 or 2 less, I'm not sure, but it should be around 75 units that you could potentially get that affinity gem from. The reason why I went with 58 plus is that is 80% of the units in the game. So I went with a reasonably safe number here. Not everyone is going to have all units in the game, me included, of course. I'm missing 5 of them right now. So, just for the purposes of playing it safe, we went with 58. So you could still be missing a lot of units and get a lot of gems from this. But the more that you have, the more gems you'll be able to get out of it. Now, something else really important to note is it's very easy to look at the affinity and the amount of points that you need and be intimidated into thinking that it's going to take a lot more points to get to the gem. The gem is at level 3. The cosmetic is at level 5. And obviously the cosmetics are very, very important for the units that you play the most. And not only for that particular unit, but also for that different units variants, like if they have other colors, because they all share cosmetics. But for the gem, it's only at level 3, and the number of points needed to get to level 3 is not as many as you would think. So for a starting grade SR, you need 16,000 points to max it out at level 5. But in order to get to level 3, you only actually need, I believe, 31 or 3,200 points. One of those two right there. So you can see that it is way, way less than you might originally think. I originally thought that you would need something like 10,000. That makes the most sense, right? Because level 3, level 5, if you do the math, like 10,000 points. But it does not work that way. As you get more levels in the affinity system, the amount of points to get to the next level keeps going up. So, level 3 to level 4 would take more points than level 4 to level 5 would take the most points. So getting to the gem is a lot quicker and a lot easier than you may have originally expected. Now, the other important thing to take note of is that not all points, or not all units are going to require the same number of points. Like Hawk and Elizabeth here, what I'm using as an example is just a starting grade SR, but starting grade SSRs are going to take 20,000 points to get to the maximum. So to get to level 3, you're going to be looking at, something like 4,000 or so points. And then, of course, you have your R units, which take 12,000 points in order to max out. So you're going to be looking at, in fact, we can actually do this right here really easily. We're looking at 2,400 points in order to get to level 3. So obviously, though, probably SSR starting quality are going to be the units that you have the most of to get these gems. So you're still looking at around 4,000 or so points to get to the gem, which is what I used for my calculations. Now, another really important thing is the options in order to increase your affinity. You've got several options here. You've got these Vanya Ales, then you've also got these golden hearts right here, and then you've got 2 different types of food that will give you affinity. Now, the one that you absolutely never want to really use unless you somehow got them without having to spend gems on them is the yellow hearts. You do not want to buy these. The entire purpose of this video, what we're trying to do, is to get gems out of this, not to spend gems to get less gems than what it would have cost us, if that makes sense. So don't buy those. The Vanya ales are okay. I use them a little bit, maybe on certain units where the food is really difficult to get. But what we really want to focus on is the actual foods that unit needs in order to get the affinity. So the foods are going to give you 100 per food. So you're looking at, 32 food in order to get to that gem. Now, if you're wondering, man, all these different units all take their own foods, is going to take a crazy amount of farming. That's one way to do it. Technically, you could do this without spending any gold at all, with a really big time commitment. But the reason why I wanted to really make this video is to talk about the other option, which is a lot easier if you're just willing to spend the gold. And that is slowly over time buying the ingredients from the actual villages, but really making sure that you do it right. And there's a couple of mistakes that you can easily make when it comes to doing this that'll make it cost you a lot more than you would have normally spent. So let's just head over to a village here so I can kind of show you guys as an example. I believe this is the only village that I actually have not bought a bunch of the ingredients from yet today. This is one of those things that I usually add to like my daily list of things that I like to do, because it's obviously giving gems back and lots of other reasons as well. So when you actually go to the materials shop, you'll see the option to buy the ingredients and the option to buy the actual food. What you do not want to do is you do not want to buy the actual food. This is just too expensive. It's not worth it. You could do this much more affordably by buying the actual ingredients. Now, the starting cost for the ingredients is going to be 2,500 gold each. However, there are two separate discounts that you can get. Each one stacks 20% that can lower the cost down to 1,500. Now, for the purposes of the calculation and getting that 3.7 million number that I used for this video, I only used one of the discounts, by the way. I did not use them both. So you can get it even cheaper than that 3.7 million. The only one that I included, though, was actually killing the boss battle, the death match, to get the discount. I did not include the village donation one because this one technically actually costs gold in order to get it. So it kind of complicates things a little bit, and I didn't include that 20% discount. I still absolutely recommend that you get it, but when you do spend the 30,000 gold to get this discount, you don't just want to actually buy food or ingredients for the food. You want to buy other stuff as well. If you want to buy a couple of these ingredients here, that's a whole separate topic for maybe another video in the future. But you really want to be able to knock out as many birds with as few stones as possible. I hate to use that analogy there, but it really makes it a bit easier to understand. So don't just use the village donation for the single purpose. Same with the boss battle discount. Now, when it comes to the actual ingredients in the shop, it's important to note each recipe is going to always use, all the Dalamali recipes are all going to use this organic animal milk. This is going to be your most limiting ingredient for Dalamali recipes. The next three ingredients, the second milk right here, the pepper and the eggs, these ingredients are going to be used across all recipes in all different towns. And then the next three ingredients are also going to be specific to Dalamali Plains recipes. So you have your jar of milk here, which all the recipes use, but let's just say there's 9 recipes. All 9 of them will use this jar of milk, and then you'll have, like 3 of them that use this Breath of Danafor, 3 of them that use this asparagus, and 3 of them that use this glamorous mountain gold. So keep that in mind, because that's going to help you make sure that when you buy your ingredients, you don't buy way too many of one kind and have way too many of the other. And just so you can get a little bit of a better visualization of this, let's actually go to the tavern here so I can show you guys what I'm talking about. And what you want to do is, again, this is one of those things where you're not going to be able to get it all done every single day. Those shops refresh every single day, and you can only buy 5 of each of the ingredients from those shops each day. So what you want to do is just buy the ingredients that you need for these recipes, for the affinity, and then repeat that the next day and slowly be working on this over time. Really important. You do not ever, under any circumstance, want to use the gems to refresh those markets. Absolutely not worth it. Just be patient. Patience really is the name of the game, especially if you are free to play. So just to give you a bit of a better example here of what these recipes look like. So, you know, you've got your, let's do Downlily Plains because it's easier to see. We were just there. So you've got all your Downlily Plains recipes here that use this jar of milk, right? All of them. Then the third ingredient is also going to be specific to Downlily Plains. You've got that Breath of Danafor there. You got the asparagus. You've got that other milk. And that's all the other 3 ingredients. And then it's really that middle ingredient. These ones you can get in any kind of towns. So keep that in mind, and kind of having that in the back of your head is going to make it a lot easier to make sure you don't go too crazy farming or buying, whichever option you decide to go with. You don't overstock on certain ingredients so you can maximize the amount of gold that you spend on this, or I guess technically minimize the amount of gold that you spend on this. Now, another important thing to note is that when you are cooking, the ingredients, it's going to take 3 ingredients total to cook something, but you're always going to get at the minimum 3 food back. You're going to get 3, and then a super success is going to give you 4, and an ultra success is going to give you 5. I find it generally averages out to 4 or so, you know, roughly 4 plates of food for every 3 ingredients that you use. So all the numbers that I used for these calculations, though, I went with the most conservative numbers possible. So I did not calculate if you got an ultra success on every single one. I went with the, 3 to 4, even lower than 4 average. So just so you could see here, if we use 3 ingredients to cook this, that'll give us at the minimum 3 food. Let's see what we got. We got a regular success, but if you get a super success, you'll get 4, and an ultra success will end up giving you 5. So then all you want to do is just go through and keep in mind that you only need, for SRs, even though it takes 16,000 to max them out, 3,200 to get the gem. Around 4,000 for SSRs where you need 20,000, and 2,400 I believe was the number for rares where you need 12,000 maxed out. And just give them the food and collect those gems. Absolutely want to do this on all units in the game, and then the units that you actually play in your teams, you want to, of course, get those cosmetics. But, that's kind of a step ahead, maybe for another video in the future. But this will allow you to get those 58 plus gems for that cost that I mentioned of 3,712,000 gold or less. And, again, you can even get up to 75 gems. I just went with conservative numbers for the purposes of this video. So wanted to kind of open this up as an option. This is one of those things that's going to be slower over time. So definitely something you want to start to work on sooner rather than later. And hopefully this video kind of helped give you guys the details to get into this process right here. So with that all being said, that is going to be it for the video. I really hope that you guys enjoyed. And if you did and you want more videos like this in the future, consider subscribing to the channel. Feel free to leave a quick like as well. It means more than you can imagine. So thank you so much to all of you guys who do that. And more 7 Deadly Sins Grand Cross Global videos should be popping up on the screen right about now. Feel free to check them out. If not, until next time, take care everyone. This is Salt of the Salty Guild, signing out.